Welcome to Luxury Florida Living, and we are here today with our new podcast, the Artisans of Technology. And we have some great guests here today, and we're going to go into the ever-developing world of home technology and the things that are happening in that space for homeowners and what that looks like now and in the future. So we have a great guest with us today, Jeff Cole. He is the CFO and founder of Architechne.
You got it right there.
That's
a first.
Yeah.
That's a first.
So we're here today. Jeff, why don't you just start off here a little bit and tell us a little bit about yourself and about the company and how you got things started.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that. And again, thanks for having us on the show. I will go back only so far because our show's only so long. So I will go back to the days of good old BestBuy. Everybody that's typically in technology nowadays had some hand or foot or something to do with BestBuy, which, again, great company. Learned a ton in regards to leadership, business management, and people management. But they were the leaders of technology for quite some time. And so I was there off and on for about 15 years. You may be familiar with Magnolia, if you've ever walked into one of those.
Yeah, of
they had
course.
about 90 of those nationwide. I helped facilitate launching that. I ran a couple of them myself, and it was magic back then. They made a lot of changes recently, and I don't want to speak negatively about BestBuy as a whole, but they've made a lot of changes. They're stepping away from the complex sales model, and they're trying to keep things very simple, transactional, and operational. I don't want to say they're mimicking Amazon, but they are.
But they're mimicking Amazon.
I mean, I don't know how you beat Amazon at Amazon, right? But the world of luxury automation, luxury audio video, they just don't have the chops or support to do it. They've got a really small team now at their corporate campus, which has been reduced to a small team. A lot of the veterans that were in the field are no longer there, and which is unfortunate because if you've been in luxury long enough, you know it's all relationship based. You know it's somebody that's going to be in that particular subject matter for a really long time. And now they've got a bunch of, nothing to be said poorly about young teenagers or college kids, but it takes a little bit longer to learn our craft than just to hop into it and be able to slang out $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 systems, if you will.
There's that degree of separation between an expert and someone who's a neophyte in the field. Of
no
course.
doubt. Well, in the world of real estate, you know this all too well. Every time the market gets hot, what happens?
Very true.
Everybody's
we have realtors and we have more mortgage brokers every time.
Right. So it's similar to our world. Our world's become really popular, but there are two different sides of it. So went from BestBuy to Magnolia, left the industry for a little bit. I helped another home services company build a division for home automation and entertainment, and then I acquired that division while they were going through some restructuring and acquisition. I acquired that division, and then that's how Architechne was born. Funny story, too, is the name you've kind of brought up a few times here. The name has a history in itself. It was going to be Architech. Unfortunately, that domain name was $830,000, and so we decided against that. The gentleman,
a whole the business in itself.
Yeah. So no kidding. So yeah, the gentleman wouldn't come down on that price. So the team and I looked through several different options, and Techna is the Greek term for technology.
Okay.
So we are artisans of technology. We do, I would say, protect and work through and operate within our craft at a level that would be considered an artisan. And so that's where you get an architect who's designing, building plans, whether it's all the way back to Greek times to current state. They take pride in their work and their craftsmanship, as do we in the world of technology. And so that's where you get Architechne.
So what separates you guys as a company compared to a lot of these other, like the BestBuys of the world compared to what you guys are doing? I know you said artisan, and that's very important. That's an important term. And being an architect of the technology and an artisan of technology. But what's your degree of separation? Why should people look for you as opposed to another organization?
This is one of my favorite questions and a really good question. So the world of BestBuy, again, think of logistics, operations, quick turn, Amazon. They're trying to be like Amazon. That's a separate world altogether than what we do. Those are widgets.
Right.
If you've got 15, 20 different smart devices in your home, you got an app for every one of them. You're fumbling through them. They go offline. They work half the time. Sometimes they don't work. You can buy it off the shelf. It's a DIY product.
Some are battery powered, right?
Some are battery powered. It's a DIY product. We craft bespoke systems that you can't just go buy off the shelf. So to separate us from Amazon and BestBuy is a very easy thing. So that's one.
Right.
And that model for complex systems is dead. That, again, BestBuy's even trying to get out of it. They're not concerned with keeping long-term relationships with a single person. They want to high cap turn, high velocity. That's their business model, and that's okay. That's not where we play. More of where our competition lies now are custom integrators that do or attempt to do what we try to do. I will say this, that the 1 and 2 man shops is a bigger enemy to us in our industry than even an Amazon or an Apple or a BestBuy, because They promise you the world because they heard something on some podcast, they heard something in some other blog somewhere that they can do, and they're going to promise you the world that they can do that, but a one and two man show just can't. And so you'll find out that they actually flip the script on you. They don't sell you all the things that they promised. The end user half the time doesn't even know that they got duped. Also, the product selection from those smaller companies, they don't have the buying power or the relationship to really get the luxurious items. Quick example, you can't even sell the bespoke stuff from Lutron unless you have a specialized relationship with them. You know, you think of Lutron, some people think of Caseta, which is their entry-level line. Home Depot sells it. That's a DIY product.
Right.
That's not custom. But once you get into the higher-end stuff, you get into Raw 2 and 3, and then you get into Homeworks and Ketra and Palladium. To even have access to that, you need to be in an industry for a really long time. And that's just one of the 37 brands that we represent that were hand-selected. And so if you compare us to other integrators, the first thing is that the one and two man shops, not even comparable. You're going to get a bid that should be $100,000. They're going to throw you something for $20,000. You're going to think, oh my gosh, what a great deal.
Of course.
That should raise a red flag.
Just on that point, you have the general contractor in the luxury space that's doing quality builds, and then you have Joe and Ed with the truck who say they can do the same thing. There's a lower price point and a little lower price point of entry, but the cheapest thing over time ends up to be the most expensive.
No doubt. And I'm glad you brought that up too, because there are a lot of builders, and we have even had to fire a builder locally in our Burnsville location because it's a builder that's not used to luxury. But now some of the market is dried up in entry-level homes and some of even the mid-price homes. So what are they going to do? They start building luxury homes, and they just think it's just more square footage with the same style. As you're aware, it's not.
Yeah, right.
So the trunk slammers, the one and twos, and to finalize that question, because there's a lot of information to that question, the other companies that operate like us are select few. Other companies will pick brands based off margins. They'll pick them based on ease of ordering all from one distributor or one vendor. We select the brands that are the best in class, number one. Number two, they have to have a price range up and down the spectrum because not everybody's going to go buy a pair of $50,000 to $100,000 speakers for every room. Some people want $350 to $400 pair of speakers in every room, and that's okay. So our vendors have to, one, be luxury, vetted for that. We also vet them for price point because they have to be able to go up and down the spectrum with no difference of quality. Thirdly, they have to play nice with all of our other vendors that are already on board. And fourth, and big component of that, we have long-term loyal relationships with our vendors. So you can't, if you're coming in as a new vendor for Architechne, you can't step on the toes of somebody else. So if we're going to bring in another speaker manufacturer, for instance, it's got to be uniquely different, hit all the other three items, and be uniquely different to anything else we already carry. And so you put those four things together. We have hand-selected brands, the majority of them that I've hand-selected to use. We know that when we deploy those systems, they work well. We can hit the price points that the clients want. It doesn't have to be a discussion or argument about where we need to be. We can still usually deliver the system.
And you're
that they're looking
customizing it for that particular audience.
Absolutely. If we put out a system that's $250,000 and they said our budget's $150,000, that you're blown way past it, great. Let's look at the 20 zones of audio. Why don't we take a step down in a few of these? Why don't we take a step down in a couple of these TVs? Why don't we take a step down in a couple of these subs? Let's take a step down in your automation system. And that can get them into the price bracket that they want, and it won't negatively impact their experience. Right. These other shops,
and that's where your history and your professionalism and the artisan nature of the whole business comes into play, really.
Yeah, and if you ask around we've got about 15 to 18 employees right now, give or take, depending on the day. If you ask the people that work with Architechne and for Architechne, a lot of them have been in the industry for a really, really long time. So to summarize on your question, we deliver what everybody else promises. We've got a history of it. We have testimonials with builders and clients. We have the best product selection, I think, that I've seen on the face of the planet, because it's not who can put a display in for free or who's part of a big buying group. It's the right stuff for our clients and the right people. And then the people that we bring in are vetted too. I mean, Ryan's sitting here. He's been in this industry for a really long time. He's worn multiple hats. Our main project manager, installer, and programmer down in the Sarasota market, David, has been in the industry forever, and I've only seen great things from him. Our other programmers and installers and sales staff and technicians and other locations are all vetted that way. The only time you can get into Architechne without this wealth of experience is if you've got a backbone of gentlemen like the two that are sitting here with us today. They can bring in somebody that's maybe got 5 to 7 years of experience, but they lean on them for every project that they touch. It can't get out the door without it being vetted or engineered or seen by a second set of eyes that have been doing this for a couple of decades.
We're talking about here the Florida marketplace in the west coast of Florida. We're here in Sarasota today, but where's home base and where you're looking to grow to, and where should people be able to reach you as far as ability to be able to work with you as a company?
Yeah, thanks for that. So we are, of course, our home base is in Burnsville, Minnesota.
Okay.
That's where our headquarters is. It's also a showroom. It's about 5,000 square feet there. It's our main warehouse as well, 6,000 now. And then
It's a
we've
pretty
got
big showroom,
It's
though.
not bad. And then
Yeah.
we've got a simulated house showroom over in Hudson, Wisconsin, where we have 2 stories of a home that's fully automated. And then we're building a new showroom in Rochester, Minnesota, by the Mayo Clinic.
Okay.
Most people will know that that city by that clinic, since it's one of the greatest in the world. And then, of course, we're opening the one up in Sarasota right now as well, which is under construction. And so we've got 4 of them right now. There are 3 on the docket for fiscal 2025. And so we will have 7 locations, but don't let the locations deter you. We get calls. We just got a call from Colorado. We've done jobs in Texas. We've done jobs in California.
So you're nationwide. You could
Yeah,
be
we can-
nationwide. Depending on the customer and the type of project, you can adapt and change to that,
Yeah,
that request.
if you're doing a whole home system, we have partners and people that we've vetted in multiple states. There's nothing that's going to stop us from.
And plus, being in the industry this long, I mean, you had to have created those great relationships over time anyway.
No doubt. I will say there's a waiting list of people that want to open up Architechne showrooms under our brand name. And so we just excited, but we don't want to grow too fast.
Yeah.
You see what happens to a lot of companies that do it that way. We got to have quality control.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why you have Ryan Tallman here. Ryan Tallman is our other guest here today. Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you feel about the overview of the marketplaces here and what your role is with Architechne?
Yeah, thank you so much. So I think I met Jeff. It's probably been about a year now that me and Jeff have been discussing some of the opportunities available in Florida. And I incidentally know Jeff through a colleague, and I know Jeff through a mentor with Magnolia Audio Video. I used to do engineering with Magnolia Audio
Right,
Video.
Jeff spoke about Magnolia earlier. Right?
Correct, yeah. It was a great company to work for at the time. I worked with a lot of great individuals. I learned a lot of really important concepts of system design. It really helped me fine-tune what the high-end luxury market needs and wants, and being able to create the documentation on the back end to pre-design these projects before we actually get out in the field. And that way we're putting a lot of less pressure on our field supervisors, our field technicians, our lead techs, and everybody who's commonly having to make decisions in the heat of the moment. What do they want to do with wires? Which direction are we going? What size are TVs? We're not figuring these things out when things are being installed. We're sitting down with the clients. We're designing the project. We're making sure that we're having these decisions made early on.
Right. And we're in a vibrant market here in Florida.
Absolutely.
And, I think people are really starting to look and understand more of how important technology is with the home and what that looks like. Are you seeing that growth grow exponentially here over time? Or, I feel like the average home buyer is looking for this technology too. They may not be able to afford Architechne, but there's definitely people I think are becoming more and more educated on the value of having this kind of product in their homes.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm sure Ryan can speak to this as well. That I think for the last 20 years, integrators and vendors and distributors have been trying to get into the housing market at a different level. And a lot of the builders, for whatever the reason may be, because they were protecting their builds, their margins, and they want to kind of keep everything in-house with their typical trades, aside from maybe some pre-wire stuff.
They are the GC.
Yes, that's right.
They're the
They get to
GC.
do that. They have
Yes.
the keys to the kingdom.
Yes.
They would say, oh, no, the client can get that later. Well, they don't need to worry about that. Well, now we're at a tipping point. And so we see a lot of builders that are in exclusive partnerships with companies like ours. Sometimes they have a couple of different trades in the technology world, or maybe they just have a low voltage guy. But the builders that are ahead of the curve, that implement technology in every build, are winning customers over because they're starting to realize that technology is one of the forefronts and one of the most important things to the home, aside from the architecture, aside from cabinets and countertops and things that are
Yeah,
going
the
in.
hard finishes itself. Right?
Yeah, so it's becoming, we have a builder that every client that they have, they bring to one of our showrooms, and they lead with us. And they do that because every client ends up spending $200,000 to $300,000 in every build they do, and their builds are $2 to $3 million.
Yeah.
So about 10% of the cost of the build.
And when you were talking about showrooms, Ryan, we were talking about that the other day, and you just mentioned it here now. You have a new showroom coming into play here under construction, as you said earlier, in the Sarasota marketplace. What's that looking like, and how are you going to use that tool for your customers, and what's the anticipated opening of the showroom?
Yeah, so we're hoping to have it open by fall. So we're looking at
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're trying to put things together. We're also building it out in phases so that it's not too much of an undertaking at once. As Jeff mentioned earlier, we don't want to grow too big too fast, and we try to be very cautious of how we spend our money. And of course, we rely on our clients and these projects to keep us moving forward. So as projects come in more heavily, we're able to put more funds into doing things a little bit more exciting or doing things a little bit quicker. But the showroom's going to give us the ability to do what Jeff calls, and what we call the life of the client experience. And he describes it as an on the rails experience where we can walk our clients through our process and explain to them why we are the best option for this. Some of the other integrators, the 1 and 2 man shops Jeff alluded to, they try to approach things with almost a cookie cutter type system to where they want to make sure that they're doing a lot of the same thing in all of their homes. It's more efficient, it's faster, and unfortunately builders really enjoy that because builders find us coming in and creating waves slows their process. And especially because one of the elements of our process is lighting design, we find ourselves on the critical path of their charts. And now as a low voltage smart home company, we're not just hanging TVs, we're not just putting up speakers. We're now dealing with life safety systems, with lighting control, with lighting systems within the house. So now the builder has a lot more visibility on us. Well, hold on a second. My electrician's waiting on you, and we need to get our rough inspections done, and you're delaying the process. So if you're talking about companies who are coming in and really creating an experience of home automation with the lighting, the technology, the sound, and all the elements that we process, if you're not following the process strategically, the way Jeff explained, you're going to miss things. You're going to frustrate those relationships with the builders. You're going to upset the clients. There's going to be expensive add-ons. There's going to be oversights, and it's going to create utter chaos. And unfortunately, that happens so often that builders and designers and people in the area shy away from bringing us in sometimes. The nature of this industry has just over the past decade been filled with people, and again, I could call them charlatans, people that say they know more than they do, because you can get kind of high up in this industry knowing very little and fake your way through it.
Of course.
And people just assume if you use a couple of big technology words, their eyes glaze over. They lose focus on what you're talking about. So if you build trust, you can sell snake oil to these people for an expensive price, make a lot of money, and then you don't have to deal with the service element of it. You walk away from it. So they create a project. They take $250,000, $300,000 from a client. They get the job done. They stumble over the finish line, and then
hopefully they get it done.
Hopefully they get it done. In some cases,
that's another important thing, right?
And one of the things Dave off
Feedback
camera
next week, right?
Yeah.
One of the things Dave off camera can attest to, and we should get him up here to talk about this one time, is really what that looks like, because he's what I consider a client advocate in this industry. Dave has done phenomenal with maintaining relationships with clients after the fact. And one of the reasons is because he hangs his hat on the idea that the job's not done until it's delivered the way the client expects it to be done at whatever cost. There's no, our margins.
And up to your excellence and standards.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons Dave makes such a great partner, and he has such an extensive list of happy clients, is that he follows that through. The long-winded answer to your question is the life of the client experience is something that we offer that helps us mitigate that process. So every client, no matter if they're spending $50,000 or $500,000 or up, is getting the same experience. Because you made a comment earlier, and I know you didn't mean anything by it, but you had made a comment for the people who maybe can afford Architechne. Well, ideally, everyone can afford Architechne. If you follow our process, we'll explain to you why your expectations are what's putting you out of the market of doing what you want to do. So
let's kind of dive into that a little bit and unpack that a little bit. You talked about your showroom. You talked about bringing people into the showroom and what's happening when they get to the showroom and following your process to get to their end result, right? To cross the finish line. What are you seeing some of the latest technologies and things that people are putting into their homes now? What do you see the most, the most purchased product, or, for lack of a better term, package that they would choose when working with you? And I know everything's customized because it's artisan, right? But what are you seeing some of the newest technology that most people say, I must have? That's the must-have technology. And this is to both you guys.
Well, I'll jump off and say in Florida, I'm not sure if it's the retirees, if it's the nature of the people here, but they love their music. Outdoor spaces and outdoor livings are huge here. We do landscape audio systems, outdoor TVs. People like to sit outside by the pool, listen to music, enjoy cocktails, watch the game.
Be in the pool, watch the game.
Be in the pool, watch the game. And there are things that we customize because every outdoor layout is a little bit different, but that's very important to people. We also find that people are really enjoying how they're interacting with their home. So they want to focus on automation because they want to be able to do one button.
Be able to interact with.
They want to be able to
one
interact.
touch, yeah.
Exactly. So another thing we find is that clients really enjoy having a simple one-touch operation set up for their home for scenes is what we call them. So they want to walk in their home. They don't want to walk into a dark home. They want to walk into a home that's lit a little bit so we can create scenes for when they get home. They hit a button on their phone. The lights dim up to a certain level. So automation is big. Lighting is big. That's another very large element of what we do, lighting control and lighting design. We find that in this industry, there's oftentimes not enough attention put on the lighting system in the house. We're not looking at high-end fixtures. We're just putting in a cheap commercial grade fixture in the ceiling. And these clients are out shopping for high-end materials, high-end wood grains for their tables, marbling. They're looking at the veining, and they're looking at all these different things, their paint colors, their wallpapers under these high-end light fixtures at these showrooms, and then they're coming and putting it in their home.
And it looks totally different.
Different.
Absolutely. Even the paint colors.
Yeah,
I mean,
so if you're going to spend 40 grand on a marble countertop because of its veining, you need to spend an extra couple $1,000s to make sure the light on that is bringing that veining out.
So talk to me on that. So my wife falls in love with this beautiful fixture, and she wants to hang that over the entryway to the home. There's, to use your term, the marble table that's there. Had to get the extra special marble to show this table. So if she purchased that particular chandelier or light fixture itself, now how does that play into what you guys do? Explain a little bit more on that, because I mean I know a lot of people go out and do their own shopping, right? And a lot of people try to find their own things. And is that a wrench in the system, or is that...
Not at all, no. We do a lot of architectural lighting design. So we're talking about the can lights, the down lighting.
Gotcha.
And we also do LED strip lighting, which we use as accent lighting. So we're talking about layers of lighting in the home. So the layer you're speaking about is the decorative fixture layer, the chandeliers, the sconces.
Lighting,
yes. So when you're talking about lighting up a space...
Or ambient lighting, I should say.
Ambient lighting, yeah. So if you're talking about lighting up a space and you got a 10 by 10 room, the space wants a certain amount of luminosity, a certain amount of foot candles in that space. And you can capture all of that through a handful of cans and a couple of lamps and a couple of sconces. But the likeliness of using that space is if you want the space to be lit appropriately, you're not going to turn on both lamps, you're not going to turn on the down lights, and you're not going to turn on all the sconces.
Right.
But if you look at it just as a lighting system, I want 5,000 lumens in this space, let's throw a bunch of light in. That's not how to do it. You want to layer that lighting to make it functional. So we look at light fixtures that in the ceiling we can get 5,000 lumens out of 6 fixtures because of the quality of the fixture, the CRI of the fixture, what the fixture's capable of doing in that space. And now your lamps and your sconces are there for ambiance. They're there if you want to set a mood.
That's where the architecture of the whole
Correct.
process comes into play.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And I'd like Jeff to speak a little bit on this too as well, because the Florida market and the Minnesota market, while they are 2,000 miles apart, they do share a lot of similarities. When we're talking about luxury people, a lot of these individuals have homes in Minnesota and homes in Florida. And a lot of times they're wanting to have that experience in both places. And that's one of the things that Architechne is trying to capture is, we'll have clients all the time tell us, I wish you were in Colorado because I can't get a good integrator to come out to my house, or I'm building a house in Tennessee and I can't get a good integrator out there. And that's where Architechne comes into play. But I want to give him an opportunity to answer that question as well in case I missed anything.
What's the difference now between home theaters and media rooms? What's the... So you can include that kind of in your response.
Yeah.
This is
good. We're going to do this as a speed round. So I'm going to go back
hit the buzzer.
I'm going to hit like 5 answers here real quick. So Ryan touched on the life of the client experience. I don't know if we highlighted that enough. When you are working with Architechne, the experience is something completely different. This isn't you're probably used to going to a BestBuy, seeing some displays, playing with some things, and making a selection. Maybe you talk to a smart friend or whatever they call them nowadays, and they just read off a card, whatever it is. Same with integrators. You go in there, they've got some displays set up. You go and play with these displays. Oh, that's what you got me? Great, that looks cool. And then you sign off on that proposal. The life of the client is after we've already done a consultation and making sure we've acquired all the information to get your exact needs. You do come to our showroom. That is the same as other integrators if they have a showroom. Most of them don't even have a showroom. But you do come to the showroom.
Yeah, that's totally unusual for this space. That's what your huge degree of separation here.
Yeah, so most don't even have a showroom. But the showroom experience here is you get to break bread. we cater in food. It should be fun. You should be relaxed. We bring in drinks. If you're there in the morning, you want a morning bloody, you're going to have a morning bloody while you're sitting there making purchases and shopping.
It's outstanding.
And when Ryan highlighted that on rails experience, that's what it is. It's about an hour-long experience. If you think about going to Disney World, and it's not just the ride, it's all the stuff leading up to the ride. This is similar fashion in the technology world.
Right.
So you're going to get exposed to a bunch of stuff, but half the stuff's probably not going to be on your invoice or your proposal. That's okay. You get to have fun. Maybe you get to listen to a pair of $150,000 speakers while you're at it and see what a live musician in
Would
front of
sound
you.
like, yeah, right,
Yeah,
of
it
course.
could in your home. So the on the rails experience feels like a uniquely special experience to that individual, because it is.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we don't deviate from a process to ensure that we can deliver the end results that they'll be expecting,
Right.
even though they don't even quite know it yet.
Because, I mean, are you seeing a lot of people approach you originally with home security, CCTV stuff? Is that like the
That's another. So I'm glad you segued into that. So the other question was, what are the biggest trends right now? Ryan picked the number one. Multi-zone audio is the biggest trend. I'm sure you've heard of a company called Sonos.
Of course.
Yep. Target sells it.
Yeah.
So we don't do a lot of those systems. There are people that have used them in the past, and so we will implement them upon the client's request. We have much better and other options to do multi-zone audio, but multi-zone audio by far is the number one thing that people request and ask for, because people love music. And
Especially like Ryan said, the indoor-outdoor lifestyle of Florida. When you can open the doors here and go in and out and have music playing through from the outside to the inside is something that a lot of people look for.
And think of any environment that you're in, whether if it's dead quiet or it's got music in the background, or you happen to hear a song that you love that comes on while you're shopping at Target or while you're in Disney World or wherever you may be, a friend's house. You bring your mind over to that because it brings back a great memory with a friend or family member, or the one that got away.
It's a small world after all, right?
Right. So music is extremely important for people's mental health, emotional health, and of course, having it all in every space of your home is very important to people building custom homes now. The next thing that Brian brought up was lighting and shades. That's probably our second biggest category. So being able to control the light in the home is very important. He talked about layered lighting. That's the best way to describe it.
Right.
You go into a custom home done the right way, you'll see at least 3 layers of light per room. If you walk into a home that cost a couple $1 million and it's 8,000 square feet and it doesn't have that, it's probably done by a builder that doesn't really understand it yet. Right. And they got a $2 million home for $1.7 million instead, and it's built wrong. That's okay. We run into that too, and a lot of this stuff is retroable, and so we can fix that. Other up-and-coming big trending topics are battery-operated systems for solar, which we do really smart battery packages. I'm not going to go in the weeds on that, but that's becoming big. Obviously, theaters and entertainment spaces, which are there's a clear line in the middle of those two.
Right.
People are still doing. COVID bumped people back into thinking, oh, wait, I can't go get cool experiences everywhere. That may be taken away from me at any point in time. So then they started to reinvest in those audio video experiences in the home. Theaters, I would say this, if you're trying to classify a real home theater, if you go online right now, you're going to see 1,000 YouTubers tell you just a big TV and the best soundbar from Menards gives you a home theater experience. And that's just simply not the case. It's not true. It's not Atmos. It's not any of those things. Right. All the buzzword. If you're streaming content on your Apple TV, it's not even true 4K, even though they can call it that. None of it's true.
Well, it goes back to choosing the person who knows all these things, too, to be able to share these experiences and knowledge on these products, too.
Yeah, and the reality is we do sell those systems, right?
Right.
There are scenarios where this is the client's budget, this is what they want, but it is not a theater space. It's a really nice entertainment space. But a dedicated theater, you've got typically a 240 screen. It is still a screen projector or a video wall. You're typically talking 120 to 200 inches or larger. Mm-hmm. You'll have a minimum a 5.2.4 Dolby Atmos system or larger, all the way up to 32 channels. You'll have theater seating or couching. You'll have a dedicated room that's acoustically either suspended, or you'll have enough treatments in that particular room to mitigate a lot of those first, second, and third order reflections. You'll have a certain amount of power, a certain level of speakers. When you design a home theater the right way, and of course you have Kaleidoscape, that goes in every dedicated theater. You design a theater the right way, the one in your house will sound better and look better than any theater that you attend, aside from a really high-end Dolby Atmos dedicated theater, commercial, but it'll even surpass some iMac. There's a lot that goes into that. The entertainment space is not that. It's a shared space, it's open, maybe you've got gaming there, maybe you've got some billiards, maybe it's even opening up to a pool, indoor pool, and then it's an open concept. Doesn't mean it can't be a screen, because we've got really nice ambient light rejecting screens. Right. It could be a projection setup, it still can be a video wall, but it's a shared space. You can do some gaming in there and have a good time and do things aside from movie watching.
Right. So let me ask you this, because this is something that is a concern for a lot of people, because they're going into something and spending a considerable amount of money to make it happen. Is the technology moving so quickly that within 5 years they're going to have to re-up or replace or redo, or how does that look in your
Brilliant.
space?
That's brilliant. So yes, technology is moving that fast. However, we have pull-out Crestron and Control4 and Savant systems that are 15 to 17 years old. You don't have to constantly replace or unless you want to.
It's not like buying a laptop. Or
Yeah, no,
something.
and some people still have their MacBook from 10 years ago and it works just fine.
Agreed.
Right? So this stuff is built to not be widgets and not be replaced quickly. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be a new technology, because that is the nature of the space.
Absolutely.
There's new TVs every year. Does that mean Quantum Dot OLED from Sony a few years ago isn't still one of the best TVs on the planet? No, it's a phenomenal TV. You don't have to swap it out. These really nice automation systems don't have to be swapped out every 5 years. You can have some updates and some components, but that's at the client's discretion and expendable income.
Right.
Typically speakers in a theater, shades, lights, all those stay for the life of the home.
Right.
The stuff that you're updating
Attached to the property.
Yeah, the stuff
Right.
that you're upgrading occasionally are TVs, sometimes processors, if you want the latest and greatest, again, similar to laptops or phones.
Right.
Maybe you add some touch screens or remotes so you can interact with your system a little bit differently. We'll always design systems with expandability, so the cost to expand or change or do is mitigated when you're doing things 5 years from now. We won't build a system so it's all maxed out, and I'm sure Ryan can speak to this, but it's all maxed out at the time of purchase, so then when you come back, you're going to have to spend 3x to get these new things or better things or different things. You may want to touch on that if you'd like.
I think that all kind of circles back to when we talked about designing a home. He uses the word expandability. I'll often use the word scalability. And we want to be able to scale up or scale down in our design process. And typically that involves removing technologies or adding technologies as opposed to sacrificing the quality of the products that we're putting into the system. Some of the habits that have been formed by some of the other people out there that are doing this is, well, okay, he wants music in all of his rooms. He doesn't want to sacrifice the space, so I'm going to go down to 150 a pair of speakers. So you've made that person happy now because you've gotten in their price point and they haven't lost anything. But then we go in their house 6 months later and they're like, my speakers sound like crap, sound like tin cans.
Right.
And this is the stuff that I alluded
This
to.
is true.
Yeah,
The
happens.
stuff I alluded to with Dave, with his clients and being a client advocate. Dave experiences this a lot. So we'll go into some of these people's homes and we'll start to see now 6 months, a year later, the results of the integrator at the time meeting their budget without properly educating them on what they're sacrificing. So some of the things we try to do is eliminate technologies and scale the systems appropriately. We don't come in with a system that's fully maxed out, over-engineered, and at the highest point of the budget and try to do a money grab here so that we can get out of here. We're trying to build long-lasting relationships.
Of course.
A lot of our clients are
Repeat customer.
Ryan, speaking to this, we just make sure the infrastructure's there. So to finalize even a little bit on what are the growing topics, home networks and infrastructure is still a thing. I know everybody's going to tell you that Wi-Fi is the future and everything's wireless nowadays. It's not. So we put in infrastructure and we put in great networks, and then we can scale with that, and we'll remove rooms. So if you're building a room or a house that's got 20 rooms in it and you want audio in every room, that's 20 zones audio.
Absolutely.
That can get
Yeah,
expensive.
absolutely.
We'll wire for all of that for you, and we'll eliminate your 5 least important rooms to get you, again, down to your budget. We won't put in $150 contractor grade speakers and have you be disappointed with the end result.
To speak really quickly on this point with infrastructure and network, I like to try to explain it like this to my clients. We don't want to talk about wireless dependability and wireless capability as those two are interchangeable with each other.
Right.
Just because a device or a system or a smart home system has wireless capability does not mean that we should lean on that and expect it to be dependable.
Amen, Ryan.
Yeah, so wireless technology exists to solve a problem. Wireless technology is not the answer to designing
Correct.
a network system.
Right.
So Sonos is a fantastic option for people who forgot to wire, who didn't wire, who weren't asked to wire for any number of reasons. They want music in their home because what did we say the number one thing is? Everyone wants music in their home.
Right.
They're tired of their little Alexa or Google tinny little can. I'm going to go buy a couple of Sonos. And Sonos does that well. You know, they're the new Bose, you know.
Yeah, right.
And some people live and breathe by that. And I have to re-educate my clients and say, well, listen, when you leaned on Sonos in your condo in Hilton Head, you had to. But we're building a luxury property here, and we don't need to rely on that. Well, I really like the app. I know how to use it. We hear this all the time.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to relearn.
No one wants to relearn, right?
No one wants to relearn. We know how to use it. I'm old. I don't want to learn this technology. We hear it all the time. Well, that is an opportunity for us to do our job. You're forgetting that part of our job is not only life of the client, but training the client.
Right.
It doesn't stop at you write us a check, we handed you the keys to the house, and we walk away. Dave, as our client advocate, will continuously be reaching back out to these people. Let me stop by. I got some time later this evening. I'll come by. He goes on nights and weekends. He does more than we ask him to do because he's just passionate about it. And I can't tell you how many times he's told me I had to go by Mr. So-and-so's house because he couldn't figure out how to turn on his music system.
Right.
And
Happens,
the
right?
frustration is mitigated by responding appropriately. If we have people like Dave in the field, myself, Jeff, if they can call and they can get us on the phone and we can talk to them, it'll mitigate their frustrations.
Right.
And eventually they'll learn. Anyways, I wanted to add those
good
talking
call.
points about networking, you know.
You know, I think we're drawing to an end here of the podcast, but I think with the showroom, you're going to have a wonderful opportunity to get a lot of people in the industry out there. It's something that most people look for, especially in the new home builds. I mean, if we're looking at new home builds, what do people do? They want to go to the model, then they want to go to the model center, then they want to go to the design center to figure out what they're going to do. So if you incorporate this whole new showroom you guys are building here in Sarasota, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for everybody involved.
It'll be fun, and don't quote me on this, but I believe first week of September.
I think so, yeah.
It's probably going to be the time. We will have a lot of food, a lot of drinks, some entertainment. We expect a couple hundred people turn out. Obviously, you're invited.
I will be there with bells on.
I think you'll have a good time there, and you'll get to see some of these things live in person, aside from the stuff that you've seen yourself in other homes. But yeah, that'll be fun. I'd like to hit that target. We'll see what happens with this.
Yeah, and I think growing into this market, I've been in the Sarasota market now since 2008. Dave has been in the Sarasota market now for many years as well. We're not new to the area. We know the area. We know the people in the area. We know what people look for. We've navigated through many different companies. We've worked through different levels of each of those companies and explored many opportunities in the Sarasota market. And we've cultivated a company now that is what we think the best of the best. Doesn't mean to say that we're the only ones out there doing it this way, but we are competing with the best of the best. So
can I add to that
I would
real
love-
quick?
yeah, sure.
I don't want to take away from what you're doing there, but I want to make sure that people understand that as at Architechne, although we are representative, because you brought this up at the time in the place, our model allows us to open locations with people that have existed in those locations.
Right.
It's a one-of-a-kind model out there. Nobody is doing a model like Architechne is in the integrator world. Say we're at 20 locations in 5 years, which is what our goal is. It's ran by the people that are locals.
Right.
So you're going to get the small mom and pop shop feel with a large corporation pricing and also infrastructure, so you don't have to worry about the Jim and Bob disappearing one day
Right.
and no longer
And
being
the
in
trucks on
business.
I-75 North.
Right, exactly. So you do get access to your local I've got a guy feel,
Right.
but the financial backing and how we're operating is something that's very different. And so we will be around for a long time. We'll be servicing your technology for a long time, and you'll have people like Ryan and Dave working directly with you and in the field to support you.
That's absolutely
for a very
fantastic.
long time.
I mean, you know, not too many people can offer that kind of service. That wraps up today's podcast of Florida Luxury Real Estate and our podcast of Artisans of Technology. I'd like to thank both of you for being here today, Jeff Cole and Ryan Tallman. Looking forward to seeing you guys at your showroom opening, and I'm sure we'll be able to share some information about your website and stuff like that as well too.
Oh, absolutely.
At the end of the podcast.
That's awesome. I
So
appreciate
pleasure
it.
having
Thank
you
so
guys
much.
both here.
for
Thank
having
you
us.
so
Yeah.
much, and looking forward to seeing you here on another episode of Luxury Florida Real Estate. I'm Robert Dinan, your Florida Realtor. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you.